Hello and welcome to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Jamison, we got Ty, and back onto the podcast for the first time in who knows how long, Boatin Blake has sailed his way back. Blake, welcome back on. We had to have you on for the TCU preview. Welcome back, man. How do you feel?
Feeling good. This is going to be a fun game this weekend. That's all I gotta say. It's a typical TCU team, but not a typical OU team. So I'm really pumped to be back on and talk about it today.
Absolutely. Jamison, Ty, are y'all feeling refreshed from the bye week? How are we feeling?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Saturday just chilling on the couch, nothing to do, no plans. And now I'm heading down to Fort Worth for the game this weekend, so I'm excited.
I love it. Iron Man Jamison at it again. Ty, how was your bye week?
I will say it was kind of relaxing to not have an OU game because it's been so chaotic this year. There's not a week that we can really relax with a game apparently, so it was kind of nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was good to chill, watch some actually good football because last time it was like week 2, there was nothing on. But this time, got to watch that Alabama-Georgia game. It was a fun time. So let's get right into it. Obviously, no game to recap because we went an hour into the Texas one last week. Just check that out if you want to hear us talk a little bit more about OU. But hey, we have Blake here. It's time to talk some frogs. So Blake, first question for you. Watching OU, what is the biggest weakness you've seen out of the Sooners that you think TCU could exploit here?
Oh, this one's hard. Okay, I will probably go because I would say one of y'all's biggest problems is offensive line, and y'all have told me that, but we have no pass rush this year, so I can't see us just with the talent we have exploiting that. So I guess my big thing is secondary with a young decision maker and Spencer Rattler, that we have two all almost I would say all American safeties, and then a guy who's came out of nowhere in Noah Daniels at corner this year for us. That we have 3 guys in that secondary that if Spencer Rattler's going to make some of the throws I've seen him make the past few games, we can easily exploit that, and those could be the game defining decisions. As we saw last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, forcing no turnovers, have had no momentum whatsoever, but against Texas, forcing turnovers, putting Sam Ehlinger in a bad spot, and that kind of it bounces back to our offense. We play with a little bit more confidence and swagger. So if I see one thing, it's we have to get a pick or two from Spencer Rattler, get him rattled early.
Oh, of course, you just had to do that low-hanging fruit with the Rattler rattled thing. Ugh. Jamison, how do you see TCU secondary being a factor in this?
Well, yeah, that's their biggest strength, and that's what they produce. That's what they're known for. And like you said, Traven Morig and Ardarius Washington, are those the guys you referred to that are really good? Because those are the guys that I've seen whenever I watch the games. They look really good. And I also noticed it's LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew is one of the cornerbacks for TCU. I don't know how good he is, but that's honestly pretty cool.
He is one of those guys that about 2 times out of 3 you're pulling your hair out. He's the guy that they overthrow him by 10 yards and is up doing the incomplete. Ooh. And you're and he'll make some dumb plays, but then right when you're about to scold him again, and he'll just make some incredible swatter deflection. You're okay, I guess I'll stop. But he's all right. He's still pretty young, but he has to step it up a little bit and be a little bit more consistent.
Sounds like Buki, but without the actually good plays. Just the guy that just says incomplete all the time whenever it's overthrown.
Oh man,
sounds like Zach Sanchez.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good comparison.
He's basically Buki, but with good plays. Once or twice a game.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah,
Buki's only good play nowadays is when he gets ejected.
Oh man, Buki. Yeah, that is the guy we easily make fun of the most. He's definitely our dark horse, the GOAT that we make fun of. Talking about kind of interesting scenarios. So TCU almost lost their LSU transfer linebacker. Am I right on that? Is that just a weird rumor?
It's not a weird rumor. He's staying with the program. Like, it was kind of weird at first because the reports initially were like he's leaving, but now it like came out that he's going to stay with the program for a bit. But supposedly he's had a really hard time learning Gary's defense, which is not surprising because it's like Gary's defense is not meant for just a guy that has pure talent and coming to play. He's usually dealing with like, I think no. Maybe it's Noah Daniels. Yeah, Noah Daniels was a 1,500-yard rusher in his senior year of high school and then got converted to cornerback. So it's more meant for those guys that Gary finds like the 3-star high IQ guys, and it's all schematic. So he's technically still with the team, but I bet he leaves by the end of the year. He's not getting any playing time. So
that sounds like a very bizarre scenario there. So we've watched a little TCU. It's a different team. Obviously, They didn't get their their non-conference got canceled with that SMU game. I think that would have been pretty telling. And then obviously Max Duggan, didn't play most of the start not most of the start. He came in about halfway through, didn't get a real fall camp. It has been, I wouldn't say rusty, but definitely a better quarterback than what we've seen. So really, looking at TCU, what is the thing you're most afraid of coming out of the Frogs? Like, what do you see OU having a lot of advantages here?
The main thing is I don't see it necessarily as what OU's going to do to the Frogs, rather the Frogs do to themselves. Like, the main thing that has separated us from our Iowa State game, and then our Iowa State and Kansas State games, and then Texas. It's just offensive consistency. Texas, we were rolling. Duggan felt loose, free. The play calling felt somewhat good for the first time in forever. That we're spreading them out more. We had like a consistent running back that game, which was nice, which hasn't been the case the past few games. But then the first game, it's Duggan comes in halfway through, brings us back almost to win, but we lose. And then Kansas State is just finding no offensive rhythm. And that was literally everything that I saw in our bad games last year. It's just we can't find we have like our offensive. Instead of one OC, we have an OC. We have Jerry Kill, who's our CEO of our offense. He's like a special assistant to Gary Patterson. And then we brought in Doug Meacham again as another offensive assistant who was originally with like the 2014 Frogs. So it's just a lot of guys trying to figure out how to schematically do this. And it's a lot of just Duggan trying to win the game on his own with like a kind of inferior offensive line and bad play calling. So if we come out and we're playing it safe and just not letting Duggan like spread 5 guys out and let him just sling the ball and open up space for him to run. If that doesn't happen, there's no way TCU is going to stay with OU this weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting because if there was ever a team to get consistency with, it would be OU. This defense provides a lot of open opportunities. And for Duggan, I feel like it's a good matchup for him. Running quarterback's always an issue. Ty, looking at Max Duggan, what concerns do you see going forward with the Sooners having to stop him?
Well, I think it's funny because Blake's take has kind of been the same take that we've had almost for OU. And it's funny because I think that my take on OU and Duggan and everything else is almost the same as Blake's take. It's not really what TCU does. Anyone on that side of the the ball, I don't think it really matters. It's more what we do, and I think we saw that. We'd been preaching that all season, and I think we saw that against Texas. When we performed, regardless of what they were doing, we carried it, and I think it's the same thing here. So I just he's going to have an easier time than he should against our defense, but I think it's on us.
For sure. I agree. Jamison, what are your thoughts? You're muted, Jamison.
I'm on mute. My view.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, my thing is with like Duggan. He's like you said, he's a type of quarterback that scares me. He's got a little bit of hype. He's got confidence in his legs, but I mean, he's not like a speed demon. I don't think his run game is a type of thing that Grinch is going to give enough respect to kind of spy. You know, it's not like we're playing De'Aaron King. But still, I know that Duggan's going to extend a play and get a couple of those runs on third down that always kills OU. It's been the tail as long like as we can remember. You know, going all the way back to like as far as I can remember, Pat White. You know, with West Virginia, like just ever since then, it's just been running quarterbacks always destroy us. I'm not calling Duggan a running quarterback. I just know that he can extend a play, and I know that can hurt OU. So I would like to see a spy. I would like to see, a lot more of David Ugwebu at the middle linebacker, keeping him up there. He's got the athleticism to run sideline to sideline with Doug and keep him contained. I think that'd be a really good move moving forward because, frankly, I'm not afraid at all of TCU's run game. I don't think they've shown anything. Blake, please correct me if I'm wrong. But the running back has done nothing.
Or it's our running backs. Like
that's what I said. Yeah.
It's Duggan's our leading rusher right now. And like Duggan, I think Jamison said it perfectly. He's not like a running quarterback necessarily, but like when he sees an opportunity, like he's going to run for it. And so that's sad when we have a quarterback that's like, I would say like a 30%, 40% rushing type of guy, not like being our leading rusher whenever like my big thing is I've been calling for Zach Evans. I want Zach Evans starting every down back. I'm tired of this. He's like, because he's been out with contact tracing so much this year that he doesn't know the playbook. Well, I've seen about 6 other TCU running backs play this year that can't like get 2 yards. I'm like, whatever playbook this is, the guy just has to hand him the ball and let him do his thing. Like he's better than our 3-star guys on the bench. Like that's been the one thing I want to see Zach Evans. I just want to release him to the world, and maybe this might be the game. We had a bye week. Maybe he got some first team reps, and we can finally see that.
Well, I mean, the guy should at least know how to run up, his holes. Should know. He should know the 4-hole, the 3-hole. Yeah, like come on now, like that. Just hand the ball off to the guy. Let him run. And, you're right. Duggan isn't a running quarterback, but I still have that game from last year burned into my, retinas where Duggan ran for 92 yards on us on 12 carries, and then even broke off a 62-yard run. So, I mean,
anyone can be a running quarterback against OU.
Exactly.
Also, I just wanted quick editor's note. I just wanted to shout out Jamison for having absolutely no respect for Vince Young and pointing out what's his name from West Virginia as one of the first running quarterbacks that gave OU trouble.
Vince Young didn't give us trouble. Vince Young didn't give us trouble. We shut him out one year. And the other year we beat him 63-13. Now, okay, 2005, yeah, that was a disaster. Don't get me wrong. But let's not act like Vince Young was some sort of titan against us.
Yeah, but he beat name from West Virginia only beat us once. Derek or
Pat White. Pat White took us down.
Johnny Manziel only beat us once.
I mean, it's just Colt McCoy, like Johnny Manziel, Pat White, Tim Tebow. But he can extend the play. He's not a running quarterback. It's a quarterback that can extend the play that we should be nervous about. It's not a Peyton Manning. It's not a Tom Brady. Those type of quarterbacks I'm not nervous about. It's a guy that has the ability to run. I understand Pat White's in a different category than a Colt McCoy, but it's been famous to where running quarterbacks have gashed us, and they usually average more rushing yards than I feel like versus other teams. I just feel like the history we have not schemed well versus that at all. Like I said though, like RG3 as well. RG3 absolutely killed us on the run. But you never know with Duggan. I think keeping him contained is just a good idea in general.
That one random Utah State quarterback that one year.
Chucky Keaton, I think his name was.
I think it was Chucky Keaton. It was something like that, but he definitely tore us up.
I'm excited for Blake to come on for the Baylor pod.
The only thing I know about Baylor this year is I turned on the game the other day. I'm like, Charlie Brewer changed his number. Like, the man straight up changed his number, and it's because of rules. Like, they're keeping with rules tradition of the lower numbers, like the 1 through 9 are the captains, like the single digits. And so he's now like a single digit captain number, even though I think he should be benched.
That's wow, that's wild. I haven't watched enough Baylor this year, mainly because they never play. Because
they keep canceling on everyone.
Yeah.
they can't. They are not covering the spread well at all. To borrow a Ty term there. Oh man. So you mentioned Zach Evans as a guy you want to see more of, but are there any TCU players that we maybe hadn't heard of who can really make an impact in this game? That some of our listeners should keep an eye out for on Saturday.
Yeah, besides all the guys we've listed on defense, like our two main receivers are Tay Barber and Quentin Johnson, and those guys are going to be consistent. Tay Barber is more of a small, speedier guy. Really, probably he by far is our best receiver. Then Quentin Johnson has come out of the blue and become a really good receiver for us this year. They're scored, I think, like a touchdown or two for us, but yeah, this is what's so sad is. I feel like wide receivers where we're really missing production from, because Duggan, like last year we had a lot of drops. This year we're starting to have that problem again. And Duggan is really going to be like, he's the star of our team. And so if they're not getting open and they're not getting spots where Duggan has like progressed as a good thrower now, that's all I can really see. But there's nobody coming from the running back stable that's good. Like, there's nobody from there. So that's who I would say, I guess. But it's mostly secondary and Duggan. That's our team.
Yeah. Let me piggyback before we move on from the wide receivers on Quentin Johnston. I feel like we have to mention that this is a guy that we should worry about because he is 6'4". He was one of the best recruits coming out of wide receiver position coming out of high school last year. And was a Texas commit and decommitted at the last second to go to TCU. This kid has skills, and he's flashing as a true freshman. I mean, I understand it's a lot easier to flash as a true freshman whenever you don't get as many high-end 4 stars like other schools do. Whenever TCU gets one, yeah, he's going to play early. But still, 6'4" wide receiver is definitely something to watch with him.
Yep, absolutely. And, obviously a little different with Iowa State, but as they were tight ends, but our guys get bullied all the time, with big wideouts. So that's definitely something to watch. Easy. Last kind of TCU topic before we kind of move on. So I don't know if this is just, random people getting angry or if there's any validity to this, but is Gary Patterson on the hot seat, Blake?
No. No. I feel me and some of my college friends have always had this joke of fire Patterson whenever things started going bad, but he's going to be there till whenever he wants to leave. We're not in my lifetime. We will not find another head coach like Gary Patterson that's going to give us this much success consistently. The issues that we're having, I feel like, are mostly on the offensive end. So he has some accountability there, but it's more, he has to just I think he needs at the end of the season, just wipe the slate clean. Stop getting these 4 or 5 coaches in there trying to cook up an offense. Let's just go out and get one good or up and coming OC and just let him take the reins of the offense. That's our big problem, is just not allowing one guy on the offense to call the plays and to consistently do that, because Gary's going to call the defense every single time. And that's really where his focus is. And so I don't think he's on the hot seat, but I think if people are going to get mad, he needs to start looking in and being the offense has been a problem ever since Trayvon Boykin left. When are we gonna find what we have now is not working? What do we need to do in order to get it better? Because it's not, this past year we just added more coaches, which is not going well. So we need to start going the other way and subtract some.
It's just a situation of too many cooks. That never really works well. I know they've had success with Meacham and back when they had Sonny Cumbie there, but it just really, did I get the name right? Sonny Cumbie? Yeah. But I mean, 4 some odd, whatever you're saying, that's way too much.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on from Patterson, sure, he might not be on the hot seat for his football performance, but musically, should we be concerned? Ty, what do you think about Gary's new music scene? Do you vibe with it? What's your opinion here?
I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, the cringy super cheesy coach trying to be hip thing has actually done pretty well. I mean, look at Harbaugh at Michigan. Like, one of his things that he's known for is like, just being really like trying to be cool, but also being really cheesy, and it worked. Like, people like him for it. So I think it was a good move recruiting wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. Jamison
I
Blake.
think it was cool.
It's not. Well, that's cheesy. It's cool in a lame way.
Yeah.
Cool in a lame way.
Players like it whenever the coach is some old man. He's just out of touch. Like think of like Roy Williams. Whenever he gets into the locker room, does a stupid little dance. They all go crazy for it because it looks so stupid. Didn't Mac Brown do a dance last year in the locker room too?
Yeah.
Like, come on, like it's really fun. Yes, it's whenever they put themselves out there and they do that, yeah, they're gonna get behind it. Of course, it's fun. But yeah, I mean, Patterson. I don't know. Maybe if he puts out some dance videos, I might be intrigued with his getting some more.
I need to get the rival. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
No, you go ahead, Blake.
I was like, we need to get the rival to the Andy Reid dab video. Like when Andy Reid just came in after a playoff win and like straight up dabbed in front of the entire locker room. It's like, I need that. I need a little bit more dance in the music videos. That's my only complaint about it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, to be fair, recruiting wise, I don't think the recruits are here for the acoustic country music stylings of Gary Patterson.
What's the dude's name on the hot dog eating contest that has the good
Badlands?
Intro? Yeah,
Badlands.
Patterson should do a Badlands style like that video. They're like showcasing TCU's like facilities as he goes through.
Oh man! Hey, if y'all want to hear more about Badlands, we have a mini episode on just hot dog eating contest stuff. Check it out. I think it's just a hot dog emoji. Good, mediocre stuff, but I think it's pretty good. Real good salesman here. Yeah. So I think that's all I got to really say about TCU. Jamison, I know you frequent Fort Worth quite often as well. Obviously, Blake, lived there for years. What's the first restaurant stop in Texas for you?
That's tough for me, man. I feel like I don't like have like a place I'm really like yearning for to go to TCU whenever I go to Fort Worth. I mean, I haven't have like a go-to place there, so I really don't have a good answer for that. I did go to one place that comes to my mind whenever I went to Old South for their breakfast and I had their lemon Dutch baby. It was so good. Oh my god, it's like a little like pancake crepe with like lemon on it, kind of. I guess.
And put a little powdered sugar on top.
It is so good. I mean, if you're thinking like Fort Worth, like what you gonna get when you go there, you don't think like Dutch babies, but that's what I think about.
Blake, I know you could go on all day about the culinary delights in Fort Worth. What you're rolling through town? One stop. Where are you going?
One stop food. I gotta go Heim. It's either Heim or Bearded Lady. I'll go like Heim. Bobby's probably talked about at some point. Some of the best barbecue you'll ever have. Incredible bacon burnt ends. Something unique, incredible. And then Bearded Lady has now moved to the new spot since I've been there. It used to be in like a little small house, but now it's like a full blown beer garden and like new age American food. And so like they always make like dank grilled cheese and like stuff like that. So I would say those two places, but I definitely have a laundry list of ones I would go through.
I fully endorse both. Heim, look, I had the Terry Blacks in Uptown, loved it. 2 days later, had the Heim food truck at their new spot, and I believe it's right by Love Field. Heim beats it. Heim is my favorite barbecue, hands down, in Texas. I know that's a spicy take, but
so good.
It's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So if you're ever in Fort Worth, check that out. If you're not, well, I'm sorry for wasting your time. But you know what? Definitely won't waste your time. I'm sure Jamison definitely knows what won't waste our time, right? You know what won't waste our time? That's right. It's recruiting corner.
David.
Yes.
What is this, David?
This is a
Recruiting corner with Jamison.
Everybody dancing.
Oh, that's nice.
I can't tell you if I'm more excited for the premiere of Borat 2 on Friday or this new juicy recruiting news that we got from the class of 2022. So we just saw that arguably the best wide receiver in the country of 2022, a 5-star, committed in Luther Burden a week or two ago to that class, now putting OU's wide receiver class in the 2022 at 2 guys already, with Jordan Hudson already being out of Garland, Texas, another high-end 4-star guy. And it's starting to squeeze this early in the process of you better get in now or else you're not going to have a spot. And every single time I bring up a wide receiver in that 2022 class, I always make sure I say Talon Chetron out of Edmond Santa Fe. You should keep an eye on him because, he's big on OU. He's from our backyard, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the country. Ranked the number 9 wide receiver in the country, according to 247. And just recently, but a couple hours ago, as we're filming this on Tuesday night, he has announced he is committing in 4 days. And there is I think that it's just no coincidence that it's because our wide receiver room is shrinked with the new Luther Burden news. So I think that is leaning towards another wide receiver commit towards OU's 2022 class, looking like it's going to be a really stacked wide receiver class again. I don't know if it'll be as good as 2019's, but it has the potential if we could get some other big-time guys that we're looking at in that class. That the number 1 wide receiver in the class, Caleb Burton out of Texas, is also looking at OU. So if we get him, it will be similar to that of 2019's class. So Talon Chetron, October 24th, keep an eye out for his commitment.
Absolutely. Sounds big to me. I'm all in. Alrighty, y'all. Quick show. We didn't have a game to recap, but definitely had a lot to look forward to. Probably our most comprehensive look into it. Blake, did we say anything that's going to get the TCU fans up in a hissy? Are we about to have our Twitter attacked by TCU fans?
I wish. I want one of those moments again. I feel like TCU Twitter is a lot smaller, and I would hope has a little bit more, less time on their hands than ISU Twitter that's coming after y'all on 2 days after a game.
Well, I don't know if they just don't have podcasts about the team or something, but apparently they were commenting on the first one we did last year, and we're like, Max Duggan's not from California, or not Duggan, but Brock Purdy he's from blah 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 Iowa. You should know this. I'm like, what?
I love that. I love the fact that there's some small contingent in Iowa just waiting by their Spotify or iTunes feed, just waiting for Bobby to release the OU-ISU preview just to rip you apart.
Yeah, well, there was a comment that was they said the same thing last year, that same podcast. I'm like, okay. I love it. I wish more teams would do it.
It's the same team.
Yeah, I was saying I wish more teams would go after us. Iowa State. Oh, man. That's good.
I feel like if West Virginia was a little bit better, I feel like they're next on the list.
If they knew about podcasts, yeah. It'd be wild.
Oh, no. We're miles off from West Virginia, but any final comments before we head on out?
I mean, really, once again, I'm going to say it for you TCU fans. OU ain't losing this game unless we beat ourselves. It's not going to be because TCU beat us, so come at me. But I'm just kidding. I think really the key is if we have a good day in the passing day, if Spencer Rattler throws the ball, doesn't make too many mistakes, I think this is easily handled. TCU secondary beating us would be the way that the momentum would shift and they would win.
If OU and Spencer Rattler play like they did in that second, no, I wouldn't say second half, but if they play steady, if they play solid, like they did in overtime, and Rattler mentioned in the press conference today that he wants to keep those turnovers down. 5 is a high number for an OU quarterback. If we see the mature, calm Spencer Rattler that we saw in overtime, I think we'll be fine. Just execute, and hopefully we see that running game and that offensive line that we saw against Texas. Completely missed this point. The transfer from UCLA. He's good. He's good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's huge. That's pretty big.
Yeah. Chris Murray
play this year? Oh,
They haven't even touched his like appeal until like just now, which makes no sense. You know, like come on, like they're handing out like basketball like things, and they haven't even touched the guy who's like been on OU, all these other colleges, people that weren't even playing in the Big Ten were getting appeals processed. It made no sense, and it would have really helped to put more pressure on to Marquise Hayes and Tyrese Robinson at the beginning of the year when they were playing bad. And now he's cleared right after they just had their best game in Texas. So I don't expect him to come and take over the offensive line. I think he's just going to be waiting, breathing down their necks. And if they do anything, have another bad game like they've had in the past, a 3 penalty game from Tyrese Robinson, you know, that it's coming for him with Chris Murray because he's that good. Beambo is really high on him.
Ty, do we need to start selling National Communists Against Athlete shirts?
No, I will say I kind of disagree in my closing comments with you and Jamison in offensive consistency being our key to success. I really think that regardless of what Spencer we get, I think he can be any of the Spencers that we've seen so far. I think the real big difference is our defensive consistency and that turnover margin, which I think for us to be successful is more dependent on the defense creating the turnovers than the offense not creating the turnovers, if that makes sense. I really think our defensive consistency and performance is what is going to matter significantly less than the offensive consistency or performance. Because I think the floor is really different. Because the floor for the worst we've seen Rattler is pretty low, but it's still higher than the floor for what we've seen from this defense. That's just my take. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'd love to see some of the personnel decisions we made in the Texas game that, really worked. More Woody Washington for one.
For sure, yeah.
I would love to see some of those changes, carry over and work. And, yeah. By the way, Ty, did you get to see Grinch's comments on, I guess, the leadership in the defensive locker room?
I did not, actually.
He basically said, like, a lot of this is left over. You have these guys who are saying they're leaders and then go out and play horribly that actually have no, you want your good players to actually play well and then own it. They can't, they're out. There's too much finger pointing. A lot of that stuff was there before he got there. I think that's a good move or a good step in the right direction if he's eradicating that in the locker room, because that's the type of locker room that creates good defenses. But all right, well, I think that's it. Blake, thank you so much for coming on. Always good to have you, man.
Thank you.
And we will see you for the picks. You're going to do them live with us, so excited for that. You'll have to tune in for that. Jamison, Ty, thank you for coming on, as always. Always a blast talking with everyone. So, all right. For me, Ty, Jamison, and Boatin Blake, this has been the Schooner Pod. We will see you next time when we make our picks. Have a good week. Boomer Sooner.